Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. Woo, child. Let's go ahead and get into this. So the episode starts out showing Maurice at the house pacing back and forth, and he gets a phone call from Sabrina, and she is explaining to him that everything is going wrong and he going to jail, and she has told the police where he lives and they are going to be on the way to come and pick him up because he has killed old boy. Well, he is so stupid. He is dumb. I'm like, why are you believing her? I understand you being fearful, but he stupidly believed her. And then all of a sudden there was a knock at her door and he was like, I ain't answering that. And the knock started getting more and more aggressive, and I'm just like, I know this is this heifer. And he was so scared. Well, it ended up being Sabrina, just like I thought it was. And she was like, well, what happened was he was high when you hit him. So he was knocked out from that. So when the ambulance came, they put him in a cab and sent him home. So he's not dead. Well, she said, well, I'm done with everything. Everything is squared away. I'm about to go to sleep now. And she proceeded to go and find his bedroom and go to sleep. Put on his bonnet that her hair would not fit under and fit into, and went to the back. And I'm just like, girl. So anyway, y'all, to Andy's stupid situation. Karen and Aaron have now made it over to Andy's house, and they trying to figure out what's going on because y'all already know Gary did not disclose what he did to Andy for him to be on the phone doing what he did, which was trying to kill himself. So they done ran in the room, and when they opened the door, Andy just sitting up in the bed like this. Just looking. Y'all know how she be looking. But anyway, let me stop. So she was just looking how she looking. And so Karen got Aaron to leave the room while she was able to talk to her to figure out what was going on. And at first she tried to make it seem like nothing happened. And she was like, Andy, this is me. Come on now, what happened? So eventually she told her what happened. And Karen is like, what would you mean? He squeezed you. He was squeezing you. And she was like, he loves me. He told me he loves me. And, gave her the whole rundown of what happened. And I'm just like, girl, if you don't stop. So she was like, Andy, we've been here before. You know what that can lead to. Do I need to pull up information and pictures of women who have died from this? Like, what is it? This heifer it's not clicking for this heifer. And she was like, well, maybe I deserve it. He is a married man. I feel sorry for his wife. Girl, okay, we already know you have already gone way past the point of no return. Ain't no woe is me. Ain't no woe is me. You done did it. It's over with. Move on. You know the consequences. But you ain't got to sit up there and continuously subject yourself to the stupidity. I'm still not understanding why this heifer did not change the locks. That don't make no sense. That made no sense at all. I would have moved and or changed the locks. It don't make no sense. He shouldn't have had the opportunity to even set foot into her place of residence ever again because the locks would have been changed. I don't understand. It's stupid. And then you over here curving a good dude or somebody who seems to be a good dude for somebody who trash. And it's like he is mentally disturbed. He might be fine. He might have had all this money, but he has mental issues, anger issues. Ain't nobody got time. You have gone through more drama than a telenovela. Don't nobody have time for the foolishness. So anyway, Karen trying to talk this heifer down and help her understand it ain't her fault. It is what it is. She did what she did. But don't sit up there and try to blame you for him being the trash dude that he is and all of this. And so she was like, well, can I have a day? And so she was like, I'm staying over here with you. So she was like, I really can't have a day to myself. That's the only way I'm be able to have my day. And so she was looking at her like, I mean, it is what it is because ain't nobody got time for people to keep popping up doing the most to you. So she went on about her business. So she left her in the room, and she went back out into the living room where she was talking to Aaron. And so Aaron was like, well, I'm about to go and talk to Gary now at the hospital. So she was like, okay, yeah, you do that. And so he was like, I'll come by later on. She was like, well, I'm going to be here. So he was like, okay, then. Well, that's a good idea. So you do what you do. I'll catch up with you later. So Aaron is at the hospital to see Gary. Gary is over here talking about, I'm fine. Everybody's fine. I was in a wreck. And he was like, what were you thinking? What did you do? And he was just like, look, I don't want to talk about all this. I already know I was drinking. I'm already going to be taken to jail. I don't care about all that. Just bail me out so that I can be at the bank first thing in the morning. I'm just like, why are you so obsessed with being at the bank when you literally still ended up in the same situation that you could have been in hours prior if Andy had actually called the police? You could have avoided all this if you had went on about your business and just started life over. You could have just met her, got the money, and went on about your business without being a psycho. I'm not understanding. So anyway, Aaron was like, well, do you want me to pray with you? He was like, nah, man, I don't want none of that. I'm good. He was like, well, I'm going to continue to do it on my own as I've already been doing. He was like, all right, you do that and I'm going to do me. So he ended up going and getting the doctor. And the police are waiting outside for him to get discharged so he can be taken to jail. I am so tired of Gary. Gary is just so... Anyway. It is the morning after, and Sabrina is still at Maurice's house. And so he done got up and got ready for work. And so he went in his room where Sabrina was sleeping and was like, get up, get up, get up. Doing the most. And so y'all know how she is. Not knowing what's going on, tired in her spirit, like, okay. So she tried to wake up and he was like, it's 2 hours until it's time for you to be at work. So she was like, okay, well, I'll catch a ride with you. So he was like, you can catch you a ride here. Then he started reading her about her morning breath. I was like, why? But anyway, like he really was reading her down. But before he read her about her breath, he said, you know what, you really are cute in the morning when you wake up. So she was like, oh, okay, thank you. And that's when he started going down on her breath. Y'all, so anyway, he gets a knock at the door. And so he looking like, who is it? And y'all, of course, it's Calvin trying to move in. And so he was like, you can't move in yet. I still haven't gotten the test results back because I ain't finna have no crackhead up in here stealing my air conditioning. And I was just like, this is a fool. So anyway, Maurice was really in here trying to get the tea on what happened last night because y'all know all of this happened the same exact night where he was at the restaurant that Sabrina was at while they were celebrating Andy's victories and all this other stuff, and then he was there with that woman. So anyway, he literally just started the conversation, and then here she comes stumbling out the room. And Maurice, the red hair, was like, you are coming in at the wrong time. I was about to get the tea. So then she was like, I'm just going to go. And he was like, I'm not ready to go yet. And so she was like, no, I'm just going to go ahead and go. And, you know, I'll catch a ride and whatever. And so she went on ahead and excused herself. And so then Maurice and Calvin started talking. And he was like, y'all have more in common than y'all think. The reason why she was over here is because she was upset about you and seeing you last night with that woman. And so, where were you last night? And he was like, yeah, I was with that woman, but I couldn't do nothing because all I could do was think about Sabrina the whole time. So he was like, y'all just had too much in common. That girl really, really likes you. He was like, I like her too. I mean, I love her, but she won't commit to me. And he was like, I wouldn't commit to you either. Like, y'all, it's a mess. But anyway, I'm glad that's over with because just because somebody don't want to commit, you need to make sure that they're ready. She wants to make sure she's ready and or she want to make sure he ain't into drugs. So it is what it is. I just wish she would have been somewhat upfront about it so that they could get that squared away because, I mean, he really could be hiding it well. A lot of people hide a lot of stuff like that very well and you would never know that they are into that type of lifestyle. Danni is at her place with her man, Preston, and they're talking. It is now morning, and he's made breakfast for her, but she's like, well, I just usually take a couple of puffs of my vape pen, my weed pen, whatever that pen is that she be smoking on, and then she out the door. And he had to tell her, like, it's not gonna take you that long to eat. Sit down and eat this food. So he made her some eggs, and I guess it was some fruit on the plate too. So she starts to eat when she asked him what his day consists of when it comes to, wrangling together the cattle. And he said, manure, flies, and things like that. So, of course, her appetite is gone. See, stuff like that don't faze me when I'm eating. So, I've never understood people just being, like, so grossed out that they can't. I don't know. There ain't never been nothing that, like, my whole life. Nothing. That ain't never been. I'm talking before I got fat. That ain't never been nothing that fazed me. When somebody would say something like that while I'm eating, I'm like, that didn't make my appetite go away. But anyway. So then there's a knock at the door. And so she looking like, who is it? And Preston is like, well, do you want me to get it? I can get the door. And so she was like, yeah, go on ahead. Then she was like, wait a minute. If it's the first, don't get it. Because y'all know how she is with her landlord. She was like, hey, she always want to come around her hand out. I'm like, girl, it's the first though. But anyway, so of course, when he went to the door, it was Zack. Zack needed to take a shower and all this other stuff. Preston had already excused himself and left or whatever. And so they're talking. And I'm surprised that Danni didn't really go in on him like she normally does. I guess her being with someone kind of helps her a little bit. So I don't know. But anyway, they talking. And so she was like, okay, where you staying? He said, I ain't staying nowhere. And so he was like, I need a shower. So she was like, I knew you wanted something. And so she was like, well, do you need a ride to work? He was like, nah, I told you I still had a company vehicle. So she was like, you still got that, huh? I can't believe it. So she's being nosy, wanting to know where he worked. He was like, I'm not telling you. You'll find out sooner than later. You'll find out what I'm working on. And so she was just like, you don't need to be doing this for Karen, whatever. He was like, I'm not doing this for Karen. I'm doing this for me. Yeah, I still love her, but she's moved on, so I've moved on. But yeah, I'm glad they had a decent exchange, because normally she'd be reading and she actually encouraged him and was like, don't end up back in jail. Hopefully what you're doing is legal and you won't end up back in jail. So I was here for that. I was like, yes, come through with that kind of commentary. That's the positive energy we need to see. So today is the day that Andy is supposed to go down to the bank and give the money back to Gary. Well, she done got ready to go, and she thinks she finna go down there and face him on her own. Yeah, Karen was like, what we not finna do is that. And so she was like, no, just let me handle this on my own. Everything is gonna be ended today. So she was like, everything? She was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. Anyway, I'll be ready in an hour. Basically, I said what I said. And so she was like, you get on my nerves. Girl, ain't nobody got time. Every time they turn their back, you over here in a situation. So anyway. So Gary and Aaron have arrived to the bank first. But before all that happened, y'all, it just so much just happened that I'm so done. I'm so over this. Okay, so Sabrina is at the bank. And Jabari, I think is what his name is, that young guy who came in who Maurice thinks is going to take his job. He has approached her thinking that he late for work. And so she was like, don't worry about it. You good. You are on time. And she let him know that the report that he did the other day, which was, that day when Maurice stayed over, which was yesterday in their time, is, it was fine. He did great. He did a great job when he did that. Well, he was like happy about that because initially he was nervous about the outcome. And then he decided to give her a rose and tell her, thank you and all of this, and asked her out on a date, told her that he thought that she was, I think he told her that she was beautiful, whatever. But yeah, she was kind of looking like, okay. Well, instead of just accepting it and saying, you know what, it is what it is, she was like, yeah, I'm gonna need for you to get back to work and we need to keep things professional, and proceeded to give him the flower back. So I was like, girl, I'm tired. And I mean, like, she asked him how old he was and all this other stuff. I'm like, girl, you can't deny he fine. And he might be young, but he might be ready, girl. He fine. Jabari fine. Anyway, so now on to what I was saying initially. Y'all, Aaron and Gary walked into the bank early. Looked like the bank just opened. I'm like, y'all doing the most. What happened to the police taking you down there to the place? Like, did they arrest you? And then as soon as you went down there, he went to the bond bailsman and bonded you right out. Like, what is going on? I don't understand what is going on here. But anyway, he was there suited and booted, had a nice fitted suit on, a tailored suit, blue suit, right? Doing the most. And I'm like, so Sabrina turned around, tied in her spirit, and was like, what are you doing here? He talking about he waiting for Andy. They waiting for Andy to come down there. And she's trying to understand what for, because y'all already know. Her and Danny are always left out. So she proceeded to go in the office and call her because she just needed to know what was going on. So she called her. She was like, I'm 5 minutes out. She don't even know why they there. She looking like, okay, what is going on? So she was like, look, I'll explain later. So then she ends up calling Karen. Karen was like, I'm walking through your door. So she was like, what? She walked out of the office, both of them on the phone. And so she was like, what is going on? And so she was like, Andy will have to tell you. She was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all always off to the side talking to one another. Y'all don't never tell us stuff. Y'all always, see, this is what me and Danny talking about. Y'all always doing the most. We don't never know what's going on. We always the last to find out if we find out. Y'all have y'all own little clique situation going on. And so, you know, she was like, look, it is what it is. And Andy is, you know, she gonna have to be the one to tell you. So y'all, anyway, she went out of the office and she grabbed up Aaron, was talking to him, and he was like, well, are you okay? Is she okay? You know, what's going on? And so she was like, you know, it is what it is, trying to be. And so Andy finally walks in. She got on a blue dress. I'm like, why is y'all basically trying to, what is the matching about? I'm just like, why he got on a blue suit and she got on a blue dress? What is going on? But anyway, so she come in there offering, I want my money. And then Sabrina was like, excuse you? Like, what? If you don't go somewhere and sit down, he over here talking about, I want to go in the back with her and see it. Why do you have to see the money being taken out of the safety deposit box that's going to be given to you? I'm not understanding. Why is that you need to be in control of all situations, sir? I cannot. So anyway, they done told him, you ain't going nowhere. Go somewhere and sit down. So anyway, by this time, I mean, I didn't even tell y'all. Sabrina's so tired of how Karen and Andy do them that she called her Danny on the spot and was like, hey girl, where you at? So she was like, I'm on my way to work, what's up? So she was like, do you have a moment to stop by the bank? And so she was like, I ain't really trying to come over there like that. What's up? What's the problem? So she told her the situation, and she said the exact same thing she told Karen, which is they always doing little sneaky stuff. They always having these side situations going on, and they always doing them dirty or whatever. So she was like, I'll be over there in a minute. Because at this point, she still don't know what's going on. So when they're about to go back to the safety deposit box, Danny walked in just in time. All the ladies went back there. Y'all, they had that kumbaya moment. And she ended up telling all the ladies what was going on. And Sabrina was like, what is wrong with you? Like, what you mean? He squeezed you. And like, everybody tied in their spirit. And apparently they made a pact that they would never let men do things like this to them again. I think everybody, all of them have been through abusive relationships or something. Because they keep alluding to the fact that something has happened before, especially with Andy. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, show a flashback or something, because I want to know the exact details. Like, something went all the way down. So, yeah, y'all. Danny wanted to know how much money is going on up in them bags. And so, she was like, around $250,000. So, she grabbed up them bags quick as I don't know what. She was like, no, we ain't getting nothing. This is for pain and suffering. Lord, I'm tired. So, anyway, they finally come from the back and present the bags to him. And so, he was like, is it all here? And she was like, yeah, all of it except for $3,000. So apparently that's how much money she gave Fatima that day out of the money. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So when he finally walked off, Karen or somebody told her that she got it. She gonna be all right. She was like, I don't got this. No, I don't got this. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody please stop the theatrics. I'm so tired. Y'all don't understand. I'm so tired. Anyway, y'all, this was the recap review for Tyler Perry Sistas. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Season's greetings, happy holidays. I'm about to go and run an errand that I didn't think I was gonna run. But anyway, y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.